And again, that was a lot to do with who I am and who I was as a younger child.
Yeah.
Because I also felt that change and shift in myself at such a young age. I mean, I still look at 17 and 18 years old as a child to me, and very, very young, and lived on my own at 17 and thought I had the whole thing figured out. And, you know, very quickly after, everything shifted very drastically. And, you know, until I was maybe just a year ago, I started feeling like who I was when I put my very first single out, maybe even way, way, way before. I don't really remember when I truly lost or started disconnecting from who I really am, or started disliking or not loving who I really was, you know?
Yeah. And actually, I think you've just answered it. Like, I think ultimately when we're both talking about change, we're talking about growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like what you've been saying this whole interview so far. It's like, you're like, it's an everyday thing. It's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. Like, that's what growth is. And I think when we look at growth in ourselves, we realize it's a daily process. But when we look at change in someone else, we want it to be drastic and tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Right? It's different expectations we have of change, if that makes sense.
No, that was a really good way to put it.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like, I know if I need to change, it's going to take a few years, but I'm hoping this person changes tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's where I think our expectations and change kind of get too mixed up. So change is possible. Our expectation is slightly messy, I think. What's a big change you think you've made in your life that has had a big change externally? Like internally, what is a change that you've made, even a simple thing that you feel has?
I mean, the most major change for me was stop taking Xanax. That completely, I was ruining my life. It was the scariest, most alone I had ever felt, except it made me feel as if I had comfort whenever I was on the substances I was taking at which time. That was, you know, the poison that I really had to get out of my life and make that change. Had I not done that, I touch on it on the album, but I'm not 100% sure I would have been able to be sitting here having this conversation with you, because I didn't really want to be alive anymore. You know, when I did have this moment of clarity, even if it was for a second, I did not want to forget that I had one thought that, like, maybe I could turn this around. I called who I needed to call and I made that change. So absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, that's just the first thing that comes to mind, because had I not done that, like, it saved my life getting off of Xanax. So
that's amazing. Thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable with us. I can tell that obviously it's not an easy thing to talk about, especially when it's been a part of your life in that way. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And even more so, just that's incredible. Like, that's amazing. And you know, I think there's so many people listening and watching who I'm sure they're family members, they've been in that position. You know, I think it's incredible, isn't it, how lonely you can be made to feel when actually it's a hugely collective experience. And I think that's going to help a lot of people, you sharing that and that making that change in your